Yo, YouTube, we're back with a little quick video. Guys, appreciate all the love, all the support on the videos on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's KisProdigy on Instagram, bro. Follow me there for more of this type of content. I'm going to try to start putting more of this on there because it's a lot easier now to do. But for now, we got another video just kind of breaking down some stuff going on in rank, man. Kind of what makes these games successful and kind of what makes games not successful. And so we're gonna try to kind of break that down. So last night, me and one of my homies, KisProdigy, me and him, we've gotten masters together. We've gotten masters solo, like apart from each other. So we have a really good understanding of like what you need to do to get there, what you need to do when you're in those lobbies, right? And so a lot of those things are not have nothing to do with mechanics when it comes to getting to winning games at a higher level, right? And consistently. What it boils down to is stuff that nobody wants to hear because it's boring, which is discipline, map knowledge, map rotations, um, communication and being able to, like I said, just be able to stay calm and composed when you're in stressful tight situations. So, but for players who are trying to get there, everything feels like it's super fast. When you get there and you've done it multiple times, everything slows down and the games pretty much go at your pace, right? So this is what happened, right? So we were here, we got up, got rest, and we won this fight here, right? So we made it all the way to this end zone that's in thermal. This is probably the tightest zone I've played in a while this season so far. I mean, I played a couple tight ones, but this is probably the tightest. So
Everybody's dead. That was great.
how do we get to this, right? How do we get here, right? That's what I'm going to show you. So let's go to the beginning of the game. Let's go to the beginning. All right. So all right. So let's go back to here. All right. So first off, we take a fight that's here. This is the first fight that we took. Okay. Now, one of the things you want to do if you land in a POI that is in the middle of other POIs, right? Like, okay, well, since it's dropship, you have no choice but to land where they tell you to land. But let's just say you land in a POI where there's a guy, another team in your area. My rule of thumb is take that fight, win that fight, but you have to win that fight fast, especially on a map like World's Edge or E District where it's kind of easy to get to where you are, right? Fight, especially on World's Edge. World's Edge fights are easy to happen very quickly. Guys can come third very fast. To me, it's very good to just go ahead, take that fight, and be efficient and win it. So we win that fight, and that's what gets us to blue shields. Okay. Now we should have hit the harvester, first, but we didn't. So we get blue shields, we win that fight. Now we have KP. Good. The second thing that we do here is, as me being a caustic, I'm going immediately. Or well, actually, sorry, I'm not caustic. I was playing caustic all day, and excuse me, but KisProdigy playing caustic. And so what you're gonna see is first thing is first, right? We use the things around us like this. A lot of players who play Control Legends are not using the ring console. They're just not using it because it's boring and they rather fight. right? Or they rather just shell up to where they think zone's going to be. This is free information. It just takes a second. If you're using a character that can tell you where the end of the zone is going to be, that's like half the battle, right? You don't have to guess. You don't have to, you know, fight your way and then, through multiple teams to figure out you got to go backwards. Like free information. So that's number two, right? So we took a fight close and we won that in our POI very quickly. So to the point to where we could not get thirded. Secondly, took our time, used our characters the right way, and got zone information. So
This shifts
he uses it,
tremendously.
and we take our time and look at how he's here, teammates here, and I'm here. That's important because a lot of things that players do is, and this is something that's so small, but you guys don't think about it, right? While he's using the beacon, sometimes you might have a player that's doing his own thing over here, and you might have another guy that's doing his own thing over here. Well, if you have teams that are, let's say they're over here at Overlook, or there's a team coming from the choke from Harvester because they heard you fight, or there's a team from Survey and Epi this way that heard you fight. If you're spread out, you don't know what might be happening. And if you guys get singled out, one guy goes down, now it's just two of you left, and it puts you in a position that where you don't want to be. Better safe than sorry is be by your teammates, especially when they're using ring consoles, because if they get beamed off of it or sniped, you want to be there to help. All right, so he uses ring console, and we immediately recognize that zone's gonna play here at thermal station. Now, when you play the game enough, you do a lot of map knowledge, you understand certain maps require you to be going to the zones earlier based off of the terrain that you're going to have to cover. And so what I mean by that is, let's say for instance, we were over at let's say for instance we were over at Overlook or Epi or Climatizer, and Zone plays here. Well, we would definitely want to not try to fight anybody because there's too many POIs and too much space and terrain to cover just to get to where we need to get into zone. You want to prioritize going to zone, not fighting after that. That's it. You want to go to zone. Let's say zones here at thermal, but let's say the zone played over here at dome, right? But let's say we landed over here at overlook, okay? You definitely want to get there like immediately. Why do I say that? Because it's an uphill battle, literally, to go from geyser up to mod all the way up to stacks to dome. Nobody wants to take an uphill fight, really. It's very difficult, very hard to do, and the teams that usually have those heights usually will win. You want to go to zone. So there's certain zones where you have to know, hey, we need to just prioritize zone. So thermal station is one of those zones where you need to prioritize it like immediately because there's nothing on your backside here that can mess with you. There's nothing on your backside. If you get to thermal, the only teams you have to worry about are teams that are coming from staging. The teams are going to usually be fighting a lot at Harvester, and most guys will try to wrap from launch site to tree to get to the backside of thermal, right? You have to know that. The more you play, you have to know that. How do I know that? Because when I play and I land in these different POIs, I'm mentally taking notes every game of the climate of that area when we're fighting and when we have to move. And so that's how you keep your map knowledge and learn the game and build your game sense and your awareness is by saying, well, what happens when I land at launch site? Okay, 9 out of 10 games, that's usually what happens. We go from launch site to tree to the backside of thermal. That's usually what the smart thing to do is. 9 out of 10 games, when I land at harvester and zone plays at thermal, usually teams from monument are trying to fight, and usually teams from staging are looking at harvester and we're fighting each other, and teams from lava siphon are fighting each other. So I know, based on those games that I play, that that's usually what happens. And so you have to tell yourself, okay, well, what usually happens when we're the first team into thermal before all of these teams come into thermal? What's usually what happens? We usually can get the position we want, and we're usually the hardest team to kill when we get to where we are. And so what I tell the boys is,
Yeah.
all right,
This is probably my last one too. I
that's
gotta
okay.
get to bed.
What I tell the guys is, hey, it's a thermal zone. We need to prioritize just getting there. Me and DZ have played Masters level games for a long time. I've played this game since season 0. He's played it since the beginning as well. Going zone, especially in thermal, it can be boring because if you're the first team there, you're literally just waiting. But by the time you wait for zone to start to actually play in thermal, more than half of the lobby's dead. And so you automatically get like top 10, top 9, top 8 automatically off of just being uh proactive in being the first team there. It's all about playing smarter, not harder. So we prioritize that,
Try not to push it when the wifey's in.
right?
Push it.
So we just move there. We don't waste any time. Now you see our pathing here is we're going through the harvester, and you see how there's nobody here to be able to disrupt our path. See that? Boom. Our pathing is here through the choke, right around harvester, and then boom, we're going right here. Boom, right? So we're avoiding the landslide team, we're avoiding the lava siphon team, because all of these teams that are on edge, they're going to be fighting in at lava siphon. These teams on edge coming from fissure, countdown, and mirage are going to usually probably be fighting around staging and landslide. We're avoiding all of that just because we're being smart. See, just because there's teams fighting, most guys who play this game think that, well, if we're going that way and if we're close to it, we might as well just fight it. But you're not just fighting one fight. You're going to be fighting 2 to 3 fights after you might win one fight. But when you're taking that one fight, you're going to be weak. You guys are going to have to back up maybe and reposition. And so now when you have to back up and reposition, now you're giving the teams that are coming in more space to move up. And so you're putting yourself actually at a disadvantage. When you see certain zones that play like this, you got to get there early, right? There is no question about it. So that's what we do. Take the rope, and we're just immediately kind of rotating in, right? I put my cues down. We immediately prioritize getting to the top part of here, because anybody who plays thermal station the right way, depending on how the zone plays, you're really only playing maybe maybe 3 areas of thermal, really, right? So we prioritize here because as I'm looking at the zone, I can tell it's really, really center here. And so if it plays anywhere else late game, we'll still be in a good position for at least another zone or two, right? And we have Caustic
Bro, you
and
know what would be
Fuse,
OP?
so they
This
can
guy.
both do damage up close if a team pushes, and Fuse can do damage
Oh
long
yeah.
range with his clusters, right? So this is what we do. We're just gonna be disciplined here. We're gonna be disciplined, and we're gonna do the thing that's boring. But the boring thing is the thing that wins games, right? Some zones require you to be aggressive more. Some zones require you to be less aggressive, but smarter. Like when it comes to like that kind of thing, where you're gonna have to slow it down, just play a position. So right now we have what you call a power position. This is probably one of the most powerful spots on the map in thermal, based on how this zone is playing. There's another tip that I learned a long time ago. I'm gonna share it with you guys. When you see a zone close in like this and you see the storm, how it's touching the zone here. Usually when you see that, zone's gonna keep pulling in this direction. That's a rule of thumb when it comes to zone knowledge and zone reading that a lot of players don't know. And so when I'm looking at zones, I know zone's gonna pull in a certain direction based on that. And that could be that's the rule of thumb sort of for like any part of this if it plays like that, right? So keep that in mind. But so we hold this down. We hold this down, and this is the boring part, but this is the part that matters. We're not running around trying to take a bunch of fights and then try to figure out position. We already figured out position zones ago, and now it's just a matter of being disciplined and just holding our spot, taking our time. This is what set us up to win. So I'm gonna skip through and all right. So
Watching there. We gotta go quick now.
all right. So this is where we're going. Boom. This is where we're going right here. So we're gonna go here. Okay. Now the reason why, and it actually worked out better in our favor here. So the reason why we didn't go here is because there was about 2 to 3 teams in this area. So there was a team that was like over here that came over here to fight. There was a team late from Tree that came over here to fight. And there's a team that's over here that can look at this area. This area, it's too open, right? There's too much space underneath this structure. Too much space. And there's not enough cover here. Even if you're a team here on top, you're gonna get shot. Even if you're a team on the bottom, you can get naded out, smoked out, whatever, right? Obviously, you see that we're focusing this team down here as well. Not the best spot to be. So
Playing right here.
we opt to go here, right?
Hey, coming through right here. Never mind. This team's
So we're gonna coexist, right, with the team that's here. So we're gonna coexist,
play.
right?
I'm here. I'm with you.
All right. So we get here,
Yeah. Secure this
and
lower spot.
we call it right. Secure the lower spot, right? So now when you look at this, we have this entire structure for cover. So if this team inside wants to push, they're gonna have to jump down, and if they jump down, we have a caustic that's gonna give us the advantage. We see that there's a Watson on the team. That's the first thing that we know here. Teammate, my
Yeah,
DZ does a great job here at gassing this off, gassing off of our spots. And I'm getting shot at from the other team that we wanted to go to their spot, but we didn't, right? So we're taking our time here, right? Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to skip towards the end game, but
they're on a door.
just going to tell you kind of why this is important here, right? So there's a that team that's out here. Now we're able to focus this team that's over here in this direction. And this team that's inside, they're just wasting all of their utility, right? So to me, that lets me know that they're a bad team, that they don't know how to use their characters because they're rushing to use everything. Most bad players overcompensate by using their abilities more than shooting their weapon and positioning themselves the right way. That's what that tells me. So I'm not worried.
Yeah,
Now,
they're coming downstairs again.
now we know there's advantage over there. I think DZ goes down
In the
here.
stairwell. In the stairwell.
Yep, DZ goes down here.
Homie Shane.
Luckily, I got swing this. Put great shots here. Now, we're really minimal on HP.
I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
I put this down to get him back so he can get to me closer so he doesn't get thirsted.
Yeah, that's good.
Now we're in a top 5 situation.
Let's go over it and kill him. Why all this fighting going on? Hey,
We peek over because we have a team. We have a team that's over here. So we peek over here. We peek over just to see if we could wipe this squad, right? Because we don't want them trying to wrap behind us here on this, right? And so we peek over and we look. We get one knocked. We swing out to try to make this happen, but they have a Wraith, right? And so instead of overcommitting, I opt to come back over because it's not worth it. We got one knock. They're gonna move over to another team. That's fine. So now we just hold our position here because now zone's coming in, and now they're not gonna be able to come our way, right? So now we know we don't have to worry about that team coming up behind us because they already use port, so they can't come back our way. They have to commit to whatever area they're in now. So all we have to worry about is the team that's above us and the teams that are on the other side of the wall.
Oh, fuck, I didn't use that.
So we do a great job here of now taking the space that this team gave us, which means they're not Watson fenced up in here. They're not Gibby bubbled up in here. They're now moved upstairs. So teammate takes the space and gives himself some cover. Now you have DZ over here being proactive and looking to see where he can put gas in space. And I'm also trying to take my time and look as well. Now, and you hear me, I'm calling out my ult percentage to give my teammates the understanding of, hey, this is how long it's taking for my ult to come back. If you need me to use it, I got it, right?
Hey,
so I'm wanting to shoot my ult out here a little bit early because for two reasons. One, they have the storm on their back that's putting pressure on them. Two, they have caustic gas that's putting pressure on them, and now you have me throwing a drone in the mix, and there's a team that's over here in this direction that might see them and be able to help us out. Oh, and by the way, there's a team above us that might be able to see the team. So there's multiple reasons as to why I would shoot my drone out here. It's not just one reason why. It's multiple reasons why. But I'm thinking about those things based on the map knowledge that I gained as we moved into this position. The fight we just went to go take over the wall, that's information that I now have. DZ putting his gas down, it's information that I now have. Me knowing that our fuse took space down low lets me know that the team is not there anymore and they took height. That's information that I now have to now set me up for this entire play here.
Bro, how?
I shoot it out, let us do its thing. It gets one hit, but the guy's already knocked, right? But that's also signaling to the guys around that, hey, there's something going on here. So it's not just about helping me out. It's about, hopefully those teams are able to get that signal and those cues and do something about it. So we're doing a great job here at just watching the zone and trying to take our time here. So what you're going to notice here is I don't just swing out wide in this corner. DZ wants me to look at the corner. Still, I'm staying disciplined. Still, I'm taking my time and looking at all of this, right? So boom, we look at the corner. We force this Wraith to get out of the spot, which is great. Now she's going to be a distraction for us. Perfect. Because she's a distraction, we can now take the space. This is something that I always talk about. Taking space. When an opportunity is given, you take the space. So What do I mean by this, right? When I say take space, you're gonna hear this
Yeah.
phrase a lot in high level play.
Right here. Oh, right here. Stay in the corner. Right here in the corner.
So
Look at it.
this is space. This is space. This is space right here that we couldn't occupy because she's here. Now we can because she's gone. And so now we have this entire area to play, whereas we didn't before because she was here. Now you occupy that space. How are we occupying that space? With gas. So this team up here can't push. The team behind the wall can't push. That's what taking space means. We move her off to the spot.
That's good. Now we're gonna have a team above us, okay?
DZ makes a great calm. We're going to have a team above. And so that lets me know we're both aware of a team being above. That lets me know that he's locked in. He understands what's going on as well. We're in sync. That's why we communicate the right things. Not just communicating anything, we're communicating the right things.
I'm throwing gases up there on it.
So he's letting me know he's throwing gas up top, which is smart to push the team off of height. So they're being forced to shoot gas and reload and heal. And there's just and. DZ is a very proactive, caustic player, as you should be when these are the moments that get super tight. This is where caustic shines. I'm shooting, but look at how I'm staying very close and hugging the wall. I always talk about being able to hug your cover, being able to have cover and touch it with your body. That's how you want to be able to play most positions where you have cover to your advantage. No wide swinging, none of that. Fuse is doing a great job here. Fuse does a risky play, but he does it and you see him shooting from up top here. So you got Fuse that's able to get aerial and shoot down low. You have me crossing and shooting here. And there's caustic gas. I mean, there's nothing this team can do. Right? We're just crossing these guys from every which direction. So they can't look up and look down at the same time. We push them and force them over to the other side of the wall. I get in Gibby Bubble right before it shocks. Teammate takes some shock damage, but that's okay. Right? Caustic gas is forcing them on the other side of the wall, which is perfect. DZ continues to gas. We take our time here. Look at this. We're taking our time. Nobody's wide swinging yet. We're taking our time and we're playing together right now. We know that the teams on the other side of the wall allow those teams to do the damage to each other for us. So by the time we have to really engage here, I mean, it's easy pickings. Right? Boom. This guy comes up. Three of us are here. His back's turned. We're covering for each other well. We're not overextending. Now it's just a matter of cross. Easy here, shoots here. I'm here. I shoot here. And it is G mother freaking G.
Everybody's dead. That was.
That's how you do it. Simple. Well, it sounds simple, but if it's something that's new to you, that's how you have to think about it. If you're not thinking about your games in that way when it comes to getting to the higher level, like D2, D1, Masters Pred, this is how you have to think about the game. We're gathering information, we're thinking steps ahead. If you're not thinking about your games this deeply to where I don't think this deeply about it when I'm in the moment because I've done it for so long. Sometimes you might have to, depending on the zone, depending on certain situations, you're gonna have to brainstorm. But for the most part, a lot of this for me is on autopilot, right? And the more you do it and think this deeply and this strategical about it, the more it becomes when you get in the moment, it just happens, right? Your body just moves. Your mind goes, oh, I've been here before. We need to go here. And so it becomes, muscle memory. Um, but think this hard. You have to. To win at this level, you have to. You can't be one dimensional. And so take this into your games, guys. You know, continue to grow, continue to get better. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.